Today, I want to tell you the biggest mistake I see intermediate language learners make when trying to reach the advanced level. My name is Azren. I run the Calgary Language Nerds. We teach lots of languages. Right now, I'm working on an accelerated learning curriculum where we can get language learners to reach a conversational level within 6 months, guaranteed. The curriculum is not done. We're trying to figure out what the teaching methods would look like. But if you would like to take some experimental lessons for free or at a discounted rate, please contact me by going into the contact form in the description box of this video. Send me a message and I can tell you about any experimental classes that we're currently running. We're running them only for French and Spanish as I'm recording, beginner French and Spanish as I'm recording this video here. But of course, this video will be on YouTube for a long time, so maybe other languages will have been introduced by the time you actually contact me. Depends on when you're watching this. So today, as I said, I want to talk about the number one mistake I see intermediate level language learners make when trying to reach the advanced level. Now, the biggest mistake that I see them make is they think that the barrier, the biggest roadblock between the intermediate level and the advanced level, they think that the biggest roadblock is grammar. They think that if they were to perfect their grammar, that would allow them to finally speak very, very fluently and be advanced in the language. And I understand why you would think that. It makes perfect sense to me because you're probably freezing up a lot when you talk. You're probably trying to talk and then getting confused about what conjugation to use, for example. And so because of that, your speech is not coming out very fluently and you feel like you're getting stuck or you're freezing up all the time when you talk. That makes sense to me. Or maybe people are talking to you and you hear certain grammar points being used and it's difficult for you to piece together exactly what they said because you weren't perfectly familiar with whatever grammar point was used in that sentence, right? So it makes perfect sense to me. But here's the thing, here's the problem. Here's why it's not the biggest obstacle and it's just one obstacle. The reason it's not the biggest obstacle is because if you currently have, for example, a low intermediate level, and you want to reach an advanced level, you probably need to learn 5 or 6 times the number of words you currently know to reach an advanced level. So not double, not triple. You need to, roughly speaking, 5 or 6x all the words you know now to then have an advanced level. And so even if you were successful in cleaning up your grammar and moving your grammar level, quote unquote, from 70%, maybe right now you're 70% accurate with your grammar, maybe, and you know 70% of all the grammar rules, but there's still 30% you don't really know. Even if you went from 70% to 90%, which would be amazing, which would be very good, the problem is your biggest gap still is vocabulary. I'm going to make a separate video about how to learn vocabulary in a language. So please subscribe to this channel, or even email me directly if you want me to send you that video when I make it. Go to the link in the description of this video, send me an email. I will actually send it to you when I finish the video so that you actually have it and make sure you see it when I post it, because you don't always see the subscription feed on YouTube. I get it. But I will make a separate video on that topic. Now, the final thing I'll say in this video is, what should you do to get yourself unstuck, right? Because I told you grammar is not your biggest obstacle, but I understand it is still an obstacle. It is still one obstacle you face because you're still getting stuck when you're trying to say things and you can't find the right tense, for example, or maybe someone says something to you and you don't quite identify exactly what they said because the grammar was a bit unfamiliar. So the number one thing you can do, the easiest thing you can do, is to find imperfect solutions. What does that mean? Well, an imperfect solution is this. It means that when you get stuck, is there something you can say that would be wrong, but still gets the point across? Because it's better to be wrong, but get the point across, than it is to freeze up and say nothing and then feel anxious. It's way better to say something wrong, but you still get the point across. I'll give you an example in Spanish. This will apply to other languages too if you're not learning Spanish. The concept will. So in Spanish, you have verbs in the infinitive form. That means that it's kind of like a standard form of a verb, right? Now, technically, to use that verb, you're going to have to change the spelling or conjugate the spelling or pronunciation of it. In other words, you have to conjugate the verb. So if you're learning a language with conjugations, you know what that means, right? You'll have to change what form that verb is in. But there are lots of different ways to change the form of the verb, and people often forget them. So one hack in Spanish is when you're stuck, just say the standard form of the verb. Just say the infinitive form of the verb. Don't conjugate it, but attach a time word to that verb. So say yesterday, tomorrow, next week, last week, and then the incorrect form of the verb, because people will still understand what you said. You'll still get the point across. It's wrong. Of course it's wrong. And should you fix it? Yeah, you probably should fix it. You probably should learn how to say it right. Of course you should. If you want to reach an advanced level, yes, you'll have to, of course. But to avoid freezing up, you need imperfect solutions. So what you want to do is you want to look at the language you're learning, think about what kinds of grammatical points are you struggling with. You know what they are. You know what the hard ones are. In your language, you can probably think of it. Oh my God, the past tense is so hard. Oh my God, the cases in this language are so hard. Well, you know what they are. And then think, okay, well, what can I say when I get stuck that is easy for me to say, but wrong, yet still understandable? You might want to ask, maybe Google it or ask ChatGPT, book a private lesson, something like that if need be, to ask someone like what would be an imperfect solution if you can't think of one. You're also welcome to email me directly. I'll try and help you out too. Again, my email's in my contact, not just email, my social media, all of it in the description box of this YouTube video. Happy to give you some pointers too, for free, of course. But that's a big thing. So to wrap this up, vocabulary is the biggest roadblock from intermediate to advanced, not grammar. Although grammar still is one roadblock, it's still a roadblock. Initially, in the short term, find imperfect solutions that get you unstuck. And still, over time, you can still gradually try to improve the grammar. Hope that's helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll chat later. Bye-bye.